Hello and welcome to FinextraTV's 2021 prediction series. I'm Hannah Wallace, and kindly calling in to our virtual studio now is Neri Tollardo from Tinkoff Bank. So welcome, Neri. Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's good to have you on. Now, we're going to be talking about some of your predictions for the role of AI in banking and AI banking as a trend. But first, let's reflect on the year just gone, because I think it's fair to say the pandemic will have a lasting impact on financial services globally, meaning the way financial institutions provide their services and what products they offer will have changed. So could you shed some light on how they might have changed, what we can expect post-COVID, and whether you think these changes are here to stay? So let's start there.
Absolutely. So look, at Tinkoff, we've for those that are not perhaps overly familiar with the company, we're a London-listed organization, have been around for almost 15 years, perhaps before the word Fintech really even came about, over 13 million customers, and we're one of the world's largest and most profitable digital banks. So the COVID-19 pandemic, we think, has accelerated a lot of the trends that we have been betting on for quite some time. We became Russia's third largest bank last year with more than 13 million customers, as I said earlier. And a lot of our businesses really thrived because of this more remote method of communicating with our customers. So our Tinkoff Investments, brokerage and wealth management platforms continue to grow very quickly. We opened more than 2.5 million accounts last year and account for more than half of all the active accounts on the Moscow Stock Exchange. Our SME business helped to bring tens of thousands of customers online, businesses online, where we help them not only with financial support, but with installing online payments, building websites, moving their workforce to the cloud, and many other high value added services that we were able to deliver completely remotely, which a lot of our competitors were not able to do. So a lot of our businesses, we help them thrive during this pandemic. And our online acquiring business, we're the second largest online acquirer in Russia. Volumes of transactions online on our platform rose by more than 30% year on year in the first 9 months of 2020. And we would expect that to continue as more and more commerce moves online in Russia. So I think in a nutshell, for digital banks, it means that it's more important than ever to be customer centric and able to roll out new products quickly in response to what customers want. And again, we launched the micro investing service last year, where customers can round up cash back or interest and invest in whichever fund they would want, or even to charities. And we had great traction for that, for more than 750,000 customers using that. We pioneered mobile onboarding, which is something that was quite revolutionary at the time in Russia. Double down on education, on our educational material on the Tinkoff Investments platform, especially as more and more customers come into the market for the first time. And we launched a number of lifestyle services that were particularly relevant for use cases for people that were, say, sitting at home for longer than they had planned. So we think the changes are here to stay. They've gotten accelerated by the pandemic as people have just discovered or fully leveraged the convenience of branchless digital services. And we think there's plenty of room to go, especially as penetration of these services is still quite low in Russia.
Sure. All right. So some good advice then. It's safe to say Tinkoff Bank's been very busy in the year just gone as well then. So taking into account the turbulent year just gone, can you tell us, where do you think digital banks stand today? And can you tell us a bit about how they can ensure both profitability and scalability for the year ahead as well?
Sure. Look, it's hard to paint everything with one brush, of course, right? But what we can say about what has served us well over the years is, firstly, we started very early, and we were founded in 2006. We're branchless from the start, and we've been comfortable in this space of remote servicing of customers for quite some time, and effectively operated as a technology company with a banking license for years. And we achieved profitability very early on in 2009 and have been profitable ever since. In the last 4 years, just for context, we averaged more than 50% return on equity. So to remain profitable and growing, I think it's absolutely key. It's a necessary condition to have a product that customers trust, and one that provides a simple and engaging experience, encourages active usage, and that you can continuously innovate and add new features and products. But increasingly, it's becoming clear that in order for that profitability to be sustainable, you need a certain level of diversification of your business as well. So we started off with a credit component to our business, but with time added more and more non-credit services. And I mentioned Tinkoff Investments as one of them, for example. And these now account for more than 40% of our total revenues, which gives us not only an extra level of resilience when times are tough, but also an ability to monetize our customer base and grow it further when times are good. And perhaps last but not least is that, in our case at least, targeting adequate returns on capital was embedded in all our decisions from the very beginning. From when we underwrote a customer to when we launched a customer acquisition channel, a new product, we never saw it as a choice between profitability and growth. We decided to marry the two from the very beginning. And that's why over the last 4 years, we've tripled our customer base and grew earnings by 40% per annum on average. It's never early enough, we think, to marry profitability and growth. So I think to really sum it up, you need to have a diversified set of winning and innovative products. And together with that, you need to have certain discipline about the profitability of that particular product. And I think that's the winning formula, and it's definitely worked for us over the years.
Well, it sounds like you're ahead of the curve there. But I mean, the shock of the pandemic has also meant that banks are really putting building resilience and managing business disruption right to the top of their agendas, aren't they? So what do you see here? I mean, you've touched on it already a little bit, but also can you tell us where AI fits in here? How can that help?
Absolutely. Look, AI technology is so powerful, it's changing the business as we know it. It's very easy for companies to put a few AI slides together, and it's even easy to launch some AI pilots, but it's actually very, very challenging to apply AI at scale. For us, the AI journey really started from an optimization angle. So we automated a lot of our back office servicing functions. We rolled out highly rated chatbots, which also came in very handy and enhanced our resilience, because in 2020, for example, we were able to deal with the extra inflow of questions and requests from customers, especially through these chatbots that were fully automated. And also because the machine learning algorithms that we apply to our credit scoring, our risk models, those allowed us to react very quickly to the shock that everyone saw in 2020. So, and we're actually developing a concept called AI banking, which we will be able to present in more detail in March when we do our strategy day. But as a bit of a teaser, we think we've developed the skill set and the talent to really implement AI to move a lot of customers' boring and monotonous financial operations to the background, so they can focus on recommendations, advice, tailored user experiences, which ultimately will help them save time and money, and we hope also make them happier.
So I want to stay on that topic and that line of thought. What other roles do you think AI will be playing in digital banking in 2021 and beyond? What should we keep keeping an eye out on top of what you've already said?
Sure, I think, and this links up well to one of the key trends that we think will accelerate in Russia. I think AI will really help develop what we call super apps in Russia, and what you've seen perhaps in Asia and other countries. So AI will be a key enabler to building super apps that are really useful to the customer. And here I think it's important to understand that in Russia, you actually have a very well-developed tech and fintech scene that's not dominated by the usual international suspects, but actually by a very vibrant set of local firms. You can think of ourselves in the banking space, or Yandex in search and taxi, or Mail.ru in the social media sphere, and so on. And these super apps, in order to create real value and be more than just an aggregation of products and services, will definitely need AI to be tailored to the customer, where you can have one interface, where you can carry out a multitude of activities, where these activities are proposed to you by the super app in a very smart way, powered by machine learning algorithms and AI. And it sounds relatively straightforward, but it's quite difficult to create an ecosystem and differentiate it from a conglomerate of different products and services. The architecture of the app, the value proposition, the product development, they all have to be such that the customer gains a lot more value when they're inside the ecosystem than outside. All the products and services have to be linked up together. Using one product should benefit your usage of another product. There has to be a single sign-on on the app, and all these things can only really be achieved if you automate a lot of the mechanisms in the background, and if you can smartly offer the customer what they really want. And perhaps what's different in Russia compared to other countries is that this super app competition in certain respects is actually being led by financial services players. So ourselves as clearly one of the main examples, Sberbank, the largest state-owned bank in Russia, is also developing their own super app with a financial core at the backbone of their wider ecosystem. And obviously, we are betting on this quite extensively. We think that through our super app, our customers will be able to optimize their financial life, benefiting from all the Tinkoff proprietary services, but also an increasing array of relevant, tailored, and highly sought after lifestyle services. And that could be ticketing, travel, reservations, e-commerce, whatever the customer may actually want. And actually, to that end, we launched a product called Tinkoff Pro, a subscription program that gives customers access to many of our products at very attractive terms. So I think super app development will be an incredibly interesting field in Russia, with AI really powering that over the years.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. It's fascinating. Thank you so much for setting the scene for us then. And it's interesting you're talking about hot trends in Russian fintech, because it's an area we don't get to touch on very often. So let's end on just talking about that a little bit more, and then also how this differentiates from what's happening globally. Can you make a comparison there?
Yes, so not every country and not every region has been able to go the super app way, right? And Asia clearly has proven that is a viable case. But in the West and perhaps in the US and even in Europe, the super app concept is not yet proven. And I think it's a function of when these super apps have started being developed, because in Europe and in the US, we're very used at having Facebook as our main social media platform, Google as our main search platform, Amazon as our e-commerce platform. In Asia, you had these services all develop at the same time, that you had players that were actually able to marry all of those into one platform and one company. And Russia is somewhere in between, we think, somewhere between the Asian case and the European and perhaps US case. But we're obviously making the bet that it's going to go the Asian way.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Well, Neri, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your insights. It's been really, really interesting. And I'm glad to have heard a bit more about Russian fintech, like I say. So thank you very much for calling in. We'll leave it there today, and I hope we get to catch up face to face next time.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.